Society Battle Gamers, to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You are here with your channel host GBHL James, and today I'm joined. I don't need to introduce this guy, do I? It's Steve, everyone.
How you doing, guys?
Here for Speak Friendly Question.
Yeah, again. Yeah.
A couple of weeks since Speak Friendly Question, guys, so I would like to say a massive apology to anybody out there who likes watching the show regularly each week. Of course, things have been a bit up in the air recently. It's a confusing time for the GBHL podcast. Rumours are on the miss about potential new hosts. What's this all about? So it does mean that we've not really got our act together with who's doing what and where and etc. But Speak Friendly Question, not been around for a couple of weeks, so we're going to do it today, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to smash it.
We're going to absolutely smash it. So make sure, as always, guys, that you get involved in the comment section below and get your questions ready for next week, regardless of who your hosts are doing this. So we are going to be doing this off the phone today. What does that mean, Steve?
It means sometimes the messages get cut off. Is that right?
Yeah, if you ask a question which is sort of longer than Jamie would like, somehow he's programmed my phone so it actually cuts it off about halfway through. Also, it means that it's not in the correct order, so if you have put in multiple comments with questions that relate to other questions, then there's a chance that none of this will make any sense at all. So we're going to start things off, and we've got Jean Coeur. I don't believe I've had you on the channel before, so welcome. He's put, if anyone could clear something up for me about the new monster rules for SBG, how can you tell if a character can use the special attacks? Should have a bracket next to the name, shouldn't they?
Yeah, on the profile, there'll be a bracket and it'll say monster. If it says monster, then they can use monstrous attacks. If there's no sign of it saying monster in the profile, then they cannot.
Well, here he's actually put, and I think this is where your confusion's coming from, he's put trolls, etc. have, in brackets, monster behind the name in their profile, but a dragon in the Khazad-dûm, Steve sees what you've done here. In the Khazad-dûm sourcebook, for instance, doesn't, yet I would assume they can use all the special attacks. Well, there's a simple answer for that, isn't there, Steve?
Yeah, they can, and the reason it's not in the Khazad-dûm sourcebook is because when the Khazad-dûm sourcebook was released, the monstrous attacks did not exist. And that's your reason. So you need to look at the profiles in the most recent source books, which it will be your Mori and Angmar.
Yeah, that's right.
And is it in model as well?
No, I don't think so.
So it's Mori and Angmar. So you look at the profile. It'll be a very similar profile. It'll just say monster in it. So that's the reason.
Yeah, so even though the latest source books, they came out before the Hobbit rules and therefore brutal power attacks, you do need to check and make sure that you've got the latest of the source books. So Khazad-dûm is a little bit of a throwback to the past. So you put also, can Sauron use them? He's classified as a spirit, but he does have strength 8, and how he throws men around in the movie looks like he'd be able to hurl. Thanks in advance.
Nope, it's not monster as a spirit.
It'd be a good way of buffing Sauron a little bit.
Could be too overpowered though, then, wouldn't he? Could you imagine?
I don't know, because he's a lot of points. People bring Sauron for fun. I'm not saying you can't be competitive with him, but in scenario play, he can struggle a little bit. Some people have thought we're going to turn this into a rules we'd like to see video. And some people have sort of banning the idea that because he's a bit of a bigger character, maybe just like Ents or like a Balrog, you give a bit of an extended movement so you can get around the board a bit more. Yeah. But make him a monster, give him brutal power attacks.
Yeah, I think you'd be better off giving him a rule kind of like Beorn, just one special rule.
His own brutal power. Yeah. Oh, I do like the idea of monsters having their own brutal power attacks rather than being generic ones, that different monsters have different types of sort of special brutal power attacks. I think that would add a lot of flavour to the game. Yeah. But it's not that video. If you want to go and see that series, go and check out the playlist for that. But thank you very much for your question, Jean. We do appreciate that. So next up we've got Dom BR.
Dom BR says, hi, a couple of questions this week. Will we see any more Kings of War bat reps with Lord of the Rings models and army lists? And what are your opinions on the outcome of the EU referendum?
Well, I think on that, for the interests of one, time, and two, for not turning this into a channel of controversy, because people have got very strong opinions on this either side, which is a good thing in some ways. Yeah. I don't think we're going to debate that. I personally, I'm not happy, but I'm sure we'll be all right in the end. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing in the short term, at the very least. How about yourself? Same?
Yeah, I wanted to stay, unfortunately. I mean, we'll have to deal with the card we've been dealt now.
Yeah,
it's crack on with it, basically.
It's done now, so we've got to find a way. Hopefully they take their time about it. I don't think get Arc or 50 up or anything particularly soon from a British point of view. If you're in Europe, you want the UK to do that because it weakens our negotiating power. You almost now at this point, I'm sorry our European brothers, because I do see you as brothers, we almost want to put you in a position of weakness with uncertainty and need that uncertainty to last as long as possible. Would have rather carried on working together though, to be honest. In terms of Kings of War bat reps, now it's actually a very good friend of ours.
Yep, Andy Sharp.
He's big into the Kings of War, and it was absolutely 100% his idea to do the Lord of the Rings themed Kings of War battle report. Of course, we did that on this channel. Go and check it out if you haven't seen it. It was a wonderful way of seeing sort of massed Lord of the Rings combat without having to resort to War of the Ring, which a lot of people think is quite an unbalanced game. What did you think about that battle report?
I liked it. I've been playing the odd game. I'm trying to learn the ins and outs of Kings of War with Andy anyway.
It's easy.
But yes, it's a good game, and I think for me the thing that makes it more attractive is the fact that we can sort of integrate Lord of the Rings into that, because mainly I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, which is why I play SBG.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were the same, Andy, contacting you about looking into all the different profiles. You know, across the Lord of the Rings range, and actually almost having a set of rules. I know that Andy was in a little bit of a different position on what I thought was some of them. I think because we come from an SBG point of view, and there's definitely the flavour of the heroes. The heroes in Kings of War, like what they give for the armies, isn't always particularly great. Whereas Kings of War isn't really about those heroes as much.
No.
But I think that we're going to develop on that idea, and I'll certainly be doing Kings of War, Lord of the Rings style stuff over on Hotcakes Gaming. If you haven't checked that out, it's a great way of supporting myself and the content that I do. So check out the links in the video description below. Hotcakes Gaming, the YouTube channel, where we do a lot of our battle report content. So yeah, you may see some of that again soon. I'm quite keen to do it.
Yeah, I'd get involved with that.
I've even bought some movement trays. So I can do them up, because I know in that one Andy had made some like MDF ones and they were wooden, and of course when you film battle reports you want things to look attractive as much as anything else, so it's something that's in the pipeline. So thank you very much for that, Don BR. Next up we've got Matt Lacey. He's put, what would your predictions for a new Middle-earth starter set be? So if we're going to get a new starter set for Middle-earth SBG, what would you go for?
Personally, I'd go for Battle of Five Armies starter set. I think it would be an easy one to step into, and it would make a lot of sense as a starter set. Because you're going to get two opposing forces. Yeah, so I'd go for Battle of Five Armies. How about you? Yeah,
I think I tend to agree, especially since, you know, when the movies got divided into 3 movies, I think it would have worked out them doing a starter set that had like your Mirkwood Rangers, and I think that's why maybe I don't know, by the way, but maybe that's why there was the plastic Legolas and Tauriel and everything. I think that this whole idea of having a Mirkwood Rangers, maybe some spiders and some Gundabad's and the like, maybe that could have been the idea behind a new starter set. But I think at this point, looking at what the next bunch of releases look like they're going to be, and it being very much about the Iron Hills dwarves and Dane, and that being the expansion, it seems to make sense that you would get a starter set that included some of those kind of things, if you were gonna do a new starter set, which they're not necessarily going to do on this next bit. We don't know that, but yeah, we've certainly got a lot to look forward to with that. So thank you very much, Matt Lacey. Next up we've got Dave Egan / Murphy.
Yeah, very confusing, Dave. Very confusing. He simply writes GBHL Harry and Steve ! So he screams it. There's 4 exclamation marks.
That's a lot.
Screaming it across the green sea so we can hear it.
Well, thank you very much for that contribution.
Over there in Europe.
Oh, you're just destabilising the channel. You're destabilising the channel, you know, all of this uncertainty.
Yeah, we need a GBHL referendum.
The stocks of the GBHL podcast are plummeted. The currency is worth nothing. These t-shirts are worth nothing anymore. Who knows, maybe there will be an announcement very, very, very soon. We still got a couple of things to iron out, but I'm sure you're going to see a lot more of Mr. Crow, and certainly a lot more of the lovely Harry Moore as well. So, do you want to ask the next one as well?
Yeah, go on.
It's from what?
TFIS.
Thank forgiveness. It's Sunday.
Thank Frodo, it's Sunday.
Oh, that's all right then.
Great show, lads. Nice to see another episode of SFAQ. This week's question: Can we do a live SFAQ at Ardacon?
Ardacon! It's exploding, over 150 people coming now for sure. Well, in fact, I think it's over 160. Gosh, I've got so much work to do for
It's
it.
going to be big.
The world's first ever World Team Championships all lined up. Going to be great.
It's going to be really good. I can't wait.
And Steve, very kindly here, is actually contributing a lot of the boards. So if you guys are following Top Table Wargaming on YouTube and you see some of the boards, I mean, if you're on the Great British Hobby League page or any of the...
You'll see it anyway.
You'll see it anyway. Half-built pictures of half-built terrain. From Steve, but you're actually contributing from the Scouring of Cheshire, which is a sold out event in July. You're actually contributing those boards to Ardacon, correct?
Yeah, no problem.
And I invite anybody else who runs a wargaming club or tournaments in the UK. One, it helps me out massively, but number two, what we're going to do is we're going to do a ton of promo at the event for those events that come in the next year. So it's an opportunity to show off the kind of boards that you can put together for your own tournaments. So if anybody wants to come down and get involved in that, I do need to make a spreadsheet to see what exactly you're bringing, so I know what the shortfall is, because getting together the boards for this is not only going to be incredibly expensive, but it's going to be a lot of hard.
It makes sense for the different clubs to do that as well, because there's going to be a lot of players there, I'm assuming, who it's their first tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've been drawn in by the fact that it's the biggest tournament and the excitement.
Absolutely.
So yeah, come sell your club, sell your tournament.
We want this to be a massive advertisement for the best things about this community. So if it gives TO, I mean, again, it really does help the events. Of course, it means that there's less terrain that I need to invest in and buy. But if anybody wants to, I know that World Champion of Ripon Wargamers was quite keen on contributing. I think the Scottish lads were quite keen on probably not bringing boards, but bringing terrain. So even if anybody wants to bring boxes of terrain and have a table that was sponsored by your club, that's great. Just let me know what it is that you're bringing and what kind of mat you would need underneath it, because of course Ardacon now also has a partnership with a mats company, which is amazing.
That's really good, really good.
So we've got lots to look forward to there. If you are interested in those mats, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll try and remember, I'll put a link in the video description below. Have a little look at the selection, and if you want, I've got an incredible discount, which is only possible by having to buy such a high volume of mats, where you guys are effectively getting them at cost, okay, for these mats. So I'll put a link in the video description below. Have a little bit of a look, and email hotcakesgaming@gmail.com if you need a 4x4 battle mat for your games. There we go.
So, a live speak friendly question. Unlikely. I think time-wise, time constraints you set for yourself more than anyone.
Absolutely. So we did do a live speak friend question once at the first ever Desolation of Stockport. We were joined by Kev, and it was a bit of a Q&A. It was joined by Kev Lawrence and Dave Fredericks of Shadow and Flame, who are of course a channel sponsor. Go and check out the stuff. They very much support this channel. That was great. That was brilliant. But Ardacon, there'll unlikely to be much time to do that. I know that GBHL, Tom and Damien will of course be there promoting SBG magazine, and they'll be bringing boards to do lots of demoing, and it looks likely that SBG magazine, the next one, will be released at Ardacon. I can't confirm that because it's not my baby, it's theirs.
Fingers crossed. Fingers
crossed, lots to look forward to there. And Jamie will be playing, as will Harry in their teams. I will be incredibly busy.
Yeah.
As will you.
Yeah.
So probably not, I'm afraid.
He's got a second part to the question, which, it's a separate question. The two GBHL hosts, it says Sam? Don't know, so I think that's a typo. And Steve, the Terrain Maker King. That would be.
Do you mean Harry?
Harry?
You're a million miles away with that. That's not even a small one. It's not even like you put Harrison or,
Yeah, that would be fantastic, especially if it's after a few beers. Doesn't even have to be recorded. I mean, we all have a chat in the evening over food and a drink anyway, so there's lots of hobbity chit chat and discussions, and
there's going to be tons and tons going on.
So many people play, so many people come in. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So lots to look forward to, everybody. Lots to look forward to. Next up, we have got Tim Hines. He's put, hello again. I had asked about the best Mordor army for 500 points. I was wondering if you thought either one of these was good and which one was better. So anonymous question. Good job, Jamie's not here. He has put Knight of Umbar and Felbeast, 23 Morannons, a Shaman, Grishnak, and 6 Orc Trackers, or Shagrat with the shield. With Shield of Kirith Ungol, Kardush, Morannon Captain, 30 Morannons, and a banner. I like the first one.
Felbeast, man.
Yeah, Felbeast, good strong troops, Shaman in there is always.
Just think you're getting a lot more out of your points.
Get a lot more.
First one.
And you've even got a little bit of shooting in there, which isn't always great for evil, but it at least gives you a way of dealing with some of the things that evil forces will struggle more to deal with. Although your Felbeast already does that as well. I think that looks good.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that, Tim Hines. Next up, we've got Matt Patterson.
Matt Patterson. Thanks, guys, for that. I too think Linda is a bit average. My question this week, has there been any talk of making new profiles and models for the Lord of the Rings range? I'm aware of the re-releases, but new Lord of the Rings could be cool too. I'd love to see some more command packs, like the rest of the 4 factions, like the set of 4 factions that don't have them, like High Elves, Dunlanders, Numenor, etc. So he's basically asking, are we going to see Lord of the Rings releases as well as Hobbit releases? I think the rumours, the tidbits that we've heard are that once they finish with the Hobbit, they're going to be moving on to Middle-earth as a whole. So it's likely there'll be Lord of the Rings era models and profiles in there, I'd say. I don't know about command packs. I think it's going to be more, I think you said it a while back, source books with releases for them source books.
Yeah.
Like the old source books.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I absolutely think so. So they'll look at areas of Middle-earth that they want to expand into, sort of stories or areas, and then they'll possibly bring things out. Now remember, this is just based, this is pure speculation.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what is going to be going on going forward, but what we do know is that we have Middle-earth strategy battle games to look forward to. And even the changing of the title encompasses everything, doesn't it? You know, it very much is a title which gives huge hope to a strategy battle gamer about the future, beyond the Hobbit movies. We know that rounding off all of the releases that never ever got released from Battle of Five Armies is the current priority.
Yeah.
But it seems like it is not out of the question that new models would be available for old profiles and maybe come along with a new profile. But again, that's pure speculation. I think it will happen.
Yeah.
I think it will happen personally. And so we've got a lot to look forward to in that respect. So thank you very much for that, my friend. So Speak Friend in question has just kicked me off the phone. This is another one of the problems doing it on the phone. Here we go, let's go back down. Who were we with? It was Tim, was it?
Matt Patterson.
Matt Patterson? I did Tim before that, didn't I? Here we go, where's Matt Patterson? Matt Patterson. 30 questions this week. So thank you very much everybody for getting involved. Next up we've got Daniel Theory. He's put, hi guys, I think most, if not all people have trailed off at some point. Life and hobbies rarely fall into place. Well, you must be referring to the loop. And dropping out of the loop is not good enough.
No, I think they asked, I remember hearing Harry and Jamie, I think they asked, did they ever come out of the hobby for a while?
Oh, right,
go
okay.
back. And they both had done kind of at certain stages.
Yeah.
I know I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just with babies coming along and life being dead busy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I did it once. I bought a Grey Company army. I bought my Rohirrim army, and then when I started painting the Rohirrim army and having to paint all the horses, it demotivated me, and it was only by signing up to the tournament at Preston that actually motivated me to get back into the hobby. Since then, of course, my major motivating factor has been the fact that initially that me and Jamie were growing this channel, and the fact that that's become such a massive part of our lives, even if things have changed and dynamics have changed over the past year or so. So that is a huge motivating factor when you've got subscribers, and particularly now over on Hotcakes Gaming, when you've got patrons who are trying to support the project, really, to be able to afford to take the time to do this, because it takes time. It takes time, and it's very, very tough.
Yeah.
But I do love it. So don't expect me to drop out anytime soon unless I get bullied out. So my question this week.
Yeah. You out.
You two are far too nice. You two are far too nice. You're not bullies. My question this week is about rules. If there is one thing about the game, rules or character rules, that you would change, as it is to what is convoluted or confusing as is written, thank you. So if there's one thing about the game rules or character rules that you would change because it's convoluted or confusing as it's written, what would you change?
Line of sight.
Line of sight? Okay.
That's me. That's just me.
Okay.
We spoke about that in the other video.
Yeah, do go and check out our series, Rules We'd Like to See. It's just me and Steve whittering on with our own opinions about what kind of things that we would maybe like to be looked at going forwards into Middle-earth strategy battle gaming. Of course, we love the game. It's just two people chatting about and theorising. But really, we want you guys to engage in the conversation. And the first video in particular, I mean, we got loads of engagement, over 1,000 views very, very quickly, hundreds of comments, seemed to go down quite well, and Kings of Men is now up, and that seems to be going the same way. So do get involved in the conversation, because you'll hear a lot of our answers to this kind of thing there. So thank you very much for that, Daniel Theory. Next up, we've got the Dr. Pepper Machine.
Dr. Pepper Machine says, Highlander or Escape from New York?
I've never seen Escape from New York. You were talking to me about it before.
Yeah.
You said Kurt Russell with an eye patch and lycra.
Kurt Russell in lycra, yeah. Good films.
That's like a winner.
It is a good film. There's Escape from Los Angeles as well. One of them was in the 70s and one come later. I'm not sure which way around they were now. I think Escape from New York was the original. For me, Highlander's much better film, but they're very, very different films. Very different films. But if I had to choose one of the two, I'd go with Highlander. The original is a classic, not so much the stuff that come after Highlander 2 and 3, etc.
No, I've seen Highlander. Highlander's usually on though, like early hours of the morning.
Yeah, when you come in after a night out.
When you're coming out after a night out. And if you come in after a night out and you've been enjoying your evening, and then you have Highlander on set, it's really trippy. It's really trippy. Like I think I've had, even though I've watched the movie, like years and years ago, watched the movie from start to finish, because I've had more experiences of coming in late and it being on and not really knowing what's going on, that has influenced my memory of the movie. Like, I've got absolutely no idea what happens in it, apart from being some kind of time travelling.
There can only be one.
There we go.
There can only be one.
I'll have to get caught up, won't I? Next up, we've got Saruman the White. He's put hashtag GBHL Harry.
Come on, mate.
He's got a t-shirt on and everything now, look. Look. You know, he actually bought this. He's not just borrowed it off of me for this video. He put, I recently got my mate into SBG. Good work, good work. He has already ordered a box of Eastling Warriors, and I thought that battle companies is a good way to play the game with a small amount of models while still retaining lots of fun. It certainly is. My question, it's a good way of teaching sort of the basic dynamics of the game, isn't it? You know, without needing loads of models. My question, how should I create the story for it? I'm playing Ministerial, if that helps. Along with some random tips for battle companies, I have a PDF book for it as well. Lizard Boy! What do you think about that?
Well, the fact that his mate's Easterlings and he is Minister is quite evenly matched. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Just
lots of roll-offs, lots of 6 to wound.
For me, yeah, I mean, just build your own scenarios. Just you know, from situations in the appendices and things like that. You know, read up on it, or just create your own. Just little scenarios of why these two forces are meeting in the same town or battlefield, and just go from there. And it'll kind of run with itself, because depending what happens in the game, you can then sort of write the story. If someone gets injured, if someone dies, if you know someone gains this, that, the other, become heroic, you can write that into the sort of forward for the next scenario. Of course you can.
And there's tons and tons of conflicts in the history of Middle-earth between various Easterling tribes, such as the Balkoth or the Wayne Riders that come over from the east that Gondor fight, so you can sort of have a little look into there. Then create your own story and look at existing scenarios. You know, you could not just the 6 standard ones from your main source books, but also check out some of the old books as well. They've got custom scenarios in there, some of the journey books and the like, because they'll give you some ideas about how you can sort of create good scenarios. Battle games in Middle-earth can be good for that.
Battle games in Middle-earth is awesome for stuff like that, because you've got, like, you know, save the villagers, find the treasure, all things like that.
Exactly.
And suits battle companies off to a T, I think.
So create the story first, then try and find a scenario that fits with it. I mean, there's even advice in some of the battle companies about how to create your own scenario for things. I believe that there are some just in the battle company, the original battle company's PDF, which give you some ideas about how you can sort of build up some scenarios. So just start with that. So I hope that helps. Next up, we got David Whitaker. Hello,
David Whitaker. What's up, guys? It was great to meet not yet GBHL Harry at Battle of Unnumbered Seas. It was a great weekend, and the rules pack made for some amazing armies. 2 Saurons and a Balrog were present. That's good. That's cool. You don't really see Balrogs, which made me very happy. The models. Which models would you love to see more of at tournaments?
I think it's nice when you see something like a Sauron or a Balrog, isn't it? You know, something cool like that.
Yeah.
just things that you don't get to see much of. So what do we not get?
I like to see Numenor more. I understand the reason why you don't.
Yeah.
But I think it just look cool. I for years I've had this intention of building a Numenor army, having like your basic couple of Numenor sort of legit warbands, and then doing a lot of conversions of Knights of Minas Tirith. Converting a Minas Tirith Knight Captain. To look like Numenorians. Been saying I'm going to do that for ages, just to give you a cav option in the army. Just, you know, you can have them both in the same force. But that would be cool. I think somebody may have done. Did someone do that at the original Stockport tournament?
I can't remember. I don't think so.
I think someone may have, or they've put it on the Facebook group that they may.
If that was you, comment below. Let us know.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see that. But I'd love to see that at a tournament. I'd love to see that at a tournament.
Yeah, but I think pure Numenor is quite, you know, an unseen. I think that's what you want to see, things that you don't really get to see often. So, for example, like when Jay Clare first brought his Lake Town army, that was great because not many people had, let alone could afford, to put together a big Lake Town kind of horde. So seeing something like that was cool, just as it was cool seeing his Mahud camel army.
His chariots.
His chariots, you know, looking at like a full Candish cavalry army. I mean, it's always cool when you see an all-mounted Rohan army, obviously. A fluffy one though, because those are cool things from the movies. When you see really nice painted fellowship, things that put your story. I loved seeing the Uruk Scout armies at Throne of Skulls. Uruk Scout armies, again, really cool, seem really fluffy, and remind you of some of your favourite movies moments in the books and the movies.
Ian Marley's fellowship.
Go and check out the Amon Hen Battle Report on Hotcakes Gaming if you've not gone to go and watch that. Fantastic terrain piece, of which you're now doing commission.
Commission work now, yeah. Little plug. So yeah, I've got a little website going. It's not finished yet, there'll be stuff up there, but yeah, taking on commission work now. So if there's anything that you'd like, that you've seen me do, just get in contact. If there's something that you've not seen me do that you want, I can do that as well. We can work together and sort something out. I'm not going to sell it too much on here.
Oh well, you know, you put a lot of time into it.
It's all over Facebook, isn't it?
It's all over the Facebook page, and you know, again, if you go and check out Hotcakes Gaming and Top Table Wargaming, the YouTube channels, you'll be able to see examples of some of Steve's terrain. So, you know, you've got to be able to pay for your time as well. So if anybody wants to get some awesome terrain, Steve's now doing his commission, which is great. I think I might just have to put in a massive order for Icon.
6 billion
Keep you in work until the 20th of October, the Thursday before.
My trees are awesome.
So yeah, things that we don't get to really see much of. Definitely kind of, I'm trying to think, like Ent armies, like full Ent armies, quite cool to see.
Yeah.
Full Eagle armies, and it's always quite good fun.
Yeah.
Seeing stuff like that.
I like seeing stuff where people have done. That's my thing, like conversions and things like that. That's what I like to see.
Fiefdom armies, like seeing just like Dol Amroth army, seeing those is always pretty cool, you know, with all the pikemen and swan knights and Imrahil and the like. That always looks really cool because it's a metal army. We see a few armies of the dead around there. It really, for me, it's the themey stuff that are particularly common.
Yeah,
I think those are my favourite things. So next up we have got Matt Lacey. He's just given a thanks and a hashtag Hope for Harry. Hope for Harry. If he's got hashtag Hope for Harry, hashtag Sing for Steve.
What was it? What was it? Chris Murphy put crows before hoes. Hashtag crows before hoes. I quite like that one.
If you're part of the podcast, you can't use language like that. You know.
Crows for ladies.
Brilliant. Okay, we've got Luke Kroll next. He's like, hello. What models or box sets would you like to see come back, and would you like for the boxes to go back to 24 models per box?
Yeah,
well, it depends on the price. If it stayed the same price and went back to 24, then great. To be fair, I'd like it if you had a full warband. There's a lot of boxes of 10 now. You know, if a warband allows 12, I would like 12 troops, please. That would be my that'd be my thing. In terms of box sets you'd like to see come back?
I don't know. All of them for me, but it's not going to happen. Ones that stick out. What's my favourite box set? Can you still get Attack at Weathertop? No, I tell you what was a really good box set, Warg Attack.
Warg Attack, that's
awesome.
a good shout.
The Orcs on Wargs, the metal ones, are far superior than the plastic ones. They're
Yeah.
also really good sculpts, and you get that nice Theoden on a horse. You get Aragorn mounted.
Yeah.
Really cool models in that set. I think that's probably one of my favourites.
Yeah, I think Warg Attack, that's a good answer. Defenders of Rohan, I know that they're quite static poses, but I do like some of those poses, and I would like to be able to.
It's a funny one, because I got that late on. I didn't pay too much for it, but I ended up paying more than it was when it first came out. I didn't like it when it came out, which is why I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So it's not one of my favourites. I've got it because
it went out.
Because it went out, and I collect them, but it wasn't at the time. I remember looking at it in the shop and thinking the poses are a bit naff.
Yeah, they're very static.
Yeah.
But I really like, even though it's a static pose, the Aragorn one's pretty cool. Especially because on Hot Gates Gaming, the Adventures in Arda, stories, like there's a place for having sort of static poses from my perspective of sort of filming reports and creating narratives and things. But yeah, I quite like that. So that's probably what I would do. So thank you very much, Luke Kroll. Next up we got Callum Clapperton.
Callum Clapperton says, "Hey guys, do you have any unnamed models that you've named yourself and why? I named 2 berserkers, Gertrude and Bertrude, following an epic battle with GBHL Harry."
No, question mark, GBHL Harry. Some models that you've named yourself. I'm guessing you're not counting battle companies here. No, we're not going to count battle.
I think it just means like little nicknames for certain models.
Nicknames for certain models.
The only ones I've got, which it's only for ease of keeping track of stats, is Pointy Goblin and Little Goblin. For the Goblin Captains and Goblin Town. That's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've done that. I know that there are people that do that. Again, mentioning Jay Clare, our GBHL League winner last year. I know that he does that with his captains. He's given them names, but I've not really done that beyond battle companies. I have to say.
No.
I'd say maybe I should. Maybe I should start naming my Airhead.
I don't get attached to mine. They lose fairly often, so I fall out with them and change my calls.
Exactly. You don't want to become mostly attached. It's like being given a pig earlier in the year and having to raise it and then having to you've got to name it and everything, and you've got to cook it at Christmas. Yeah. You don't want to do that.
Nobody puts Barry in a box.
Not me, but thank you very much for the question, Callum Clapton. Next up we've got Terry Young, who's put, perhaps Eastern Kingdoms would work best as they are presented in the book. Allied units within a greater Mordor army. So obviously they must have been talking about the Eastern Kingdoms book and maybe how it lacks depth. I personally don't think that I know a lot of people like them. I'm not a huge fan of the sort of Shredder-esque aesthetic of the Easterlings from Rund. It's not how I imagine them at all, and it's not how they're described in any kind of way. They're described as swarthy, dark, short men with great axes. That's how the Easterlings are described when they turn up at the Pelennor. So they're not really how I would kind of imagine them anyway.
I don't mind the aesthetic. As far as before, I think if you're an evil player, you've got far better options than an Easterling army, and you can get more. And I think that's the main reason. So yeah, allying them in alongside Mordor's gonna help you.
Yeah. I'd agree with that, but I think that they still worth having as their own list. I think people like, I have an Easterlings army, not I've got a Mordor army.
That's what you tend to see, isn't it? You tend to see it's quite like a thoroughblood army rather than mixed.
Yeah,
for that reason probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so next up we've got King Bonsai.
I have 2 filthy Balrog lists for 800 and 1000 points. The 800 point Nova acceptable list is this: Balrog leading 10 Warg Marauders, 1 Bat Swarm and a Gundabad Black Shield. The 1000 point list is this: First Warband, Balrog leader, 1 Dweller, a Venomback Spider, 2 ED1. Second Warband, Shade leading 5k Trolls.
I mean, it'd be pretty grim to come up against.
Yeah, both of them they've both got like the cool things, that have got nice rules. 5 cave trolls in 1 warband, led by a Shade.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough because you'll be at -1. Your heroes are gonna go down with a might, so in order to bump themselves up, which counteracts the Balrog not having might. Might is the killer of the Dweller really as well. I mean, apart from the Balrog, it's all relatively low defense. Like even Cave Trolls, defense 6, so your strength 4 is getting them on 5s and the like.
Can you double monstrous attack if you're fighting 2 Cave Trolls?
Can you double?
Yeah, if you lose a fight against 2 Cave Trolls, do you get 2 monstrous attacks against you?
I think you will. I think the attacker can choose to, you can choose to rend with both. It's not like one of them can rend and then the other one can rend. Do you know what I mean? Because each monster still gets its brutal power attacks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I think anyway. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, seems pretty tough. I mean, bring it. Let's see how it goes. Remember, it's how they play at scenarios. So it'd be quite interesting to see how that gets on. It's relatively low numbers, although the things that you've got will be tough to take down, multiple wounds and the like. But thank you very much for that. Next up, we've got Callum D. He's put, not sure if I'm too late. Well, you would be, but we didn't have a speak fan question on Sunday, so apologies for that again. Hopefully, we get our stuff together and make sure that this is back out every single Sunday as expected. Not sure I'm too late, but I'll comment anyway. Great stuff as always. Have the GBHL ever considered doing live streams? For example, live unboxings when the new stuff comes out, live Q&As, or live battle reports? I myself would definitely tune in. Big love, you guys. See you next time. What do you think about live content?
I think some of the stuff like the announcements and especially when the new stuff comes out, the unboxings, they're going to be fairly quick off the press anyway, aren't they? As far as live, I wonder, does he mean for like live Q&A whilst you're doing it?
Yeah, where people like give comments and then you've got like a little chat room thing going on.
Yeah, it'd be cool, but then the problem with that is what time do you do it, when suits everyone best, and you'd have to have a cut-off point because you could be there all evening.
You would do. I mean, there are channels that do that and do quite well. I know that Jamie has looked into the idea of that in the early days. When we were being quite creative about what we wanted to do with the channel. So I know that he looked into that. I mean, live battle reports. The only way you can do live battle reports is to sort of do a live stream of 2 people sort of playing a game. I know that some people do that for tournaments and they do it on like Twitch TV and the like. I believe that they did that over at Vengeance. Whether people would want to watch that for Lord of the Rings, I mean, some people
I prefer to watch a polished, edited.
Yeah, you can. Well,
rather than all
the movement and I mean, no, you'd have to do like a side-on. You'd have to do a side-on camera and just like film 2 people
so
playing the game.
You wouldn't have the close-ups. You wouldn't have the atmosphere being built up.
So people who like those kind of battle reports are getting something very different from the battle report than what they would do with the style of battle report that I would do, for example. Like when I do a battle report, it's more about trying to get the shots and trying to make it entertaining, almost trying to make it a little bit like a form of sort of entertainment, like almost like you're watching a movie sort of being played out, and the outcome is really sort of decided by the dice and the things that you do, rather than it being sort of watching a tactical struggle between 2 people too much, although you want an element of that. Whereas, I mean, if you're watching a game from side on, you are watching the game, so you're watching 2 people duke it out, and I think there'll be an appetite for that. So you never know, that might happen at one of the tournaments in the future. It's not something that I'd be particularly interested in, but I think other people might be. Live Q&As, even doing unlive Q&As can be tough.
I think it is just trying to get everyone there at the same time. So because people watch YouTube at different times, like I mostly watch my videos late in the evening. Kids are in bed. Yeah. By the time I log in, the live Q&A might be done. So you're not going to get the audience that you would want, I don't think.
No. It's something that we might look at in the future.
Yeah.
We've looked at it.
It takes a lot of planning ahead so people know to make that time free.
Exactly. We would effectively be needing to be in a position where we could do this almost full time, I think, to sort of have the kind of organisation to be able to sort of pull it off in a way that most people could benefit from the fact that you were doing it live, or had a reason to anticipate and get involved in that. But who knows, we can look at it. If anybody's got any suggestions and tips, let me know and we'll see if it's something we can do in the future. Okay, so next up we got Wartman RP. Is it you or me?
Maybe.
Wartman RP.
Another great episode. Here's my questions for this week. What do you all do for a living? I know James does fitness and Jamie works for a gaming company, but what about everyone else? Just curious. Some gaming questions now. Aside from themed or fluffy armies, does it ever make sense to set warriors of Minas Tirith with bows over rangers?
It does if you're on the defence.
Also, I know some people give Urukai pikes and crossbows. Could the same be done with warriors of Minas Tirith, giving them spears and bows and have them shoot through the front rank, then support when the lines meet? Thanks as always, and see you at Nova.
Should we start with the first one? What do you do for a living, Steve?
I run my own building company, so I'm a builder basically.
You're a builder and you specialise particularly in
Extensions, loft conversions, anything really.
windows.
Yeah.
Steve doing my windows. Woohoo! Woohoo! Damien is a lecturer in design, some kind of design.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what his subject is, to be honest.
Tom is some kind of geologist, sort of natural disaster risk assessor.
Yeah. So
It's probably the most interesting job out of all of us, actually.
if you see him walking into your town, be worried, be afraid, be very afraid.
He turns up with a smile and
happen.
charm, but what he's really doing is trying to say, you're about to have an earthquake,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, he's some kind of geologist. Like I say, Damien's a lecturer, you're a builder, I've got gym, personal trainer.
What does Harry do? Oh, he works at a hospital. He's a...
He does, yeah. Well, he works in mental health.
Is it?
Does he? Have I mixed Harry up?
I had it in my head that he was something to do with radiology. I might be totally off the mark there. I don't know why I think that. It's just that's what I thought.
He helps people.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. Harry helps people. I think he's moving jobs though.
Is it?
I'm sure he's moving jobs. He's moving house and stuff at the moment. So yeah.
Oh yeah, he's moving jobs. He's becoming a GBHL host. What time?
You know, we joke, but of course you're doing your commission terrain because ultimately you want to be able to do something in the hobby.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah.
You know, and ultimately that's why I set up the Patreon. Ultimately, you know, to try and pay for the time that we put into making content. Does it do that? No. But you know, that's the goal, isn't it? That's
baby steps.
Baby steps. In terms of from themed or fluffy arm, does it ever make sense to take warriors of Minas Tirith with bows over rangers? Well, rangers got better shoot value, but they do have lower defence.
High fight value.
And they've got higher fight value.
Whenever I brought them, I have rangers supporting shooting through the ranks. I've never brought a warrior Minas Tirith with bow. Like you say, there is reasons for it, the defence.
Yeah, the only reason is as if you want to guarantee that your opponent's going to need a 6 to wound you, especially if they've got like an elven bow and you've got like defence 5 in any kind of way, like Citadel Guard. But I think when people are ranking your missile options when you're a Gondor player, you're probably looking at your rangers for your shoot value, and you're also looking at your Citadel Guard for the fact they've got a strength 3 bow.
And if you're going to be manoeuvring that rank around, then having the better shoot value in your rangers helps out massively also. But
yeah, you can give spear and bow to warriors of Minas Tirith behind, and you have them shoot through the front rank and then support when the lines meet. Yeah, absolutely, just like you can do with rangers. And look forward to seeing you at Nova. Brilliant. So next up we've got King Boneseye again. He's put, if Leggy can hit with the auto shoot regardless of in the ways, can he shoot for his own models? Thanks, doing some.
As long as he can see a model, yeah, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, as long as he's got line of sight inside, even if that line of sight is obscured by one of his own models or a combat involving one of his own models, or it means that he ignores the inner ways effectively. I'll ask the next one as well because that was a short one. Yeah. CTM podcast. Hi guys, I've had good fun being in the loop the last few weeks. Welcome to the loop. Some interesting topics covered. I've got a question about the logistics of the game. Why can some armies, such as the Mahud, use throwing spears, but other armies that can carry spears can't throw them? Is there something about warriors of Minas Tirith throwing their spears that seemed wrong to the rule developers, or is it an issue of trying to balance the game? I'd like to know what you guys think. Two completely different rule game.
Yeah, one, it's just the fact that they've got spears in the name of them, you know.
Yeah.
But one's a ranged attack option and one is a support option. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, usually actually people come from that argument the other way around. It's an interesting sort of way that you've come in on that one, because usually people come in and say, why can't my throwing spears support, particularly like Rohan players, you know, we've got Rohan on foot with throws, and they're like, well, you know, we don't have any spears, they should be able to support with those throwing spears. I mean, we'll not get into too much about sort of weapons and warfare, you know, like a spear which is designed to be thrown is usually a little bit different from a spear that's designed to be held and fought with and support. But just think of it as being two completely different types of war gear, you know, pointed differently and with a different role on the battlefield.
And accessible by different.
And accessible.
Yeah.
You put, quite frankly, I think it would spice the game up, but I can see how it could become chaotic. Pikes, of course, should still be disallowed from throwing, as a pike could take too long to throw accurately. I don't think it's a problem at the moment. I think you can make throwing spears better by making them cheaper or remove the move and shoot. Yeah. Check out the rules we'd like to see video about the main rulebook. But I think having the two things separate is absolutely fine.
Yeah, because it would mess things up, because if you're able to throw your spears that you
slow the game down massively.
Well, you'd have to change the points value for them as well.
Well, they'd have to be 3 points as things stand.
And then it would make things like Warriors Minister really expensive.
Those things would become really expensive, and it would slow the game down massively, because so many troops have access to spears, but there's only a few really that have access to a throwing weapon, really, in the scheme of things. So if you're having to do that with everything, I just think that it's okay the way that it is. Just weapons need sorting out. So thank you very much for that, CTM. I think you got no, that's absolutely fine. Jeremy Smith, we've got next. Jezza Smith.
Hey guys, whomever you might be this week, when making a theme list, do you make a list based on a scene in the book or movie, or do you make up a list like Tea Time at Bilbo's, or what would have happened if Eowyn and Aragorn got married? I'm contemplating a doubles list for Nova for my wife and me. Any ideas? P.S. Does Legolas's auto hit ignore elven cloaks?
Okay, let's answer the first bit. First of all, elven cloak removes line of sight if they're slightly obscured with further than 6 inches away. So he can't auto hit. He can't see them, so he can't see them to auto hit them in the first place. So let's just get that bit out of the way. How do you make up your lists? When you think of, well, I'm going to make a fluffy list, what kind of angle do you come from? Do you do fluffy lists these days, Steve?
Yes, I try to keep things fluffy.
That's why you converted
to
have a Moria Goblin Shaman in your Goblin army.
Yeah.
So it looked...
But it's still fluffy, because it is...
Because it looks like a Goblin Town Goblin rather than a Moria Goblin Shaman. Completely fluffy.
It's a Goblin. I do just try and keep things as fluffy as possible. It does enter my head. I wouldn't have things that I'd like totally not meant to be. And then if they are, like the Shaman, I will make an effort so that it looks fluffy.
Yeah, you're not just...
there were no Goblin Shamans in Moria in the movies or in the book.
No.
There were none, but they're in the game. So, that... it doesn't bother me that there's no shamans in Goblin Town, although it does bother a lot of people. I'm not one of them. I'm quite I like shamans in the game, but yeah, I try and keep things fluffy. I don't particularly go for a certain scene. I've thought about it because people like we mentioned before, Ian Marley and his Fellowship. Mate, you look at that and you think that's cool. I want to do something like that. That's cool. So I will do, but generally I just try and keep it in constraints of what is realistic compared to sort of theme from the book. Yeah. What about you?
All of the above. So I've created armies based on what I've thought in the books, for theme and fluff, what I've liked in the movies, and tried to come up with things that theme or fluff. I've done some hypotheticals in the past, some hypothetical things like you put there. I mean, generally, Rohan's probably the best example for myself, because that Rohan list that, for 500 points that I built, it's not a particularly sort of fluffy list, apart from the fact that you're trying to go for an all-mounted Rohan army and trying to optimise it in a way which then can be competitive at the game at certain points costs. But generally, if I'm trying to come up with a fluffy army, I'll do any of those things, any of the above really is the answer. In terms of a doubles list for Nova with your wife and yourself, ideas. You've got to go for the couplings, haven't you?
Yeah.
So Eowyn and Faramir, Arwen and Aragorn.
I think you could go Eowyn and Aragorn as well, though, because there was a bit of a thing.
No, she had a thing for him. Have you read the book?
He led her on. He led her on in the films. Definitely led her on. He had a twinkle in his eye.
No, see,
yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Because he knew.
From a female perspective,
he knew she was mad for him.
Yeah, but there's a line in the book. There's a line in the book that perfectly describes it, where she's mistaken his sort of his kindness, and because he's just being the gent and who he is. She's mistaken that for being him sort of returning affection, but he's just too nice really to tell her to do one.
Yeah.
To be honest,
you could still go with that.
You ought to go for the Faramir and Eowyn. They get to
Faramir and Eowyn would be cool. So that's Rohan and Gondor, which would work.
Yeah, but they do. They get together.
Yeah.
They get together.
Yeah.
So Aragorn and Arwen, that's a must. Bombadil and Goldberry. Tom Bombadil and Goldberry, that's a coupling. What other couplings are there? The Hobbit, for some reason, tried to make a little bit of a connection between Galadriel and Gandalf, but you could do Galadriel and Celeborn.
It was a bit of a sinister connection, that.
It was weird, did not make any sense. He was a bit obsessed about that in thing. You could do Tariel and Keely.
Yeah.
You could try and get those couplings in there, I would say. If you're going to do Galadriel and Celeborn together.
Yeah.
Are there any other couplings you can think of off the top of your head? I think I named them all there. Smashed through that, didn't I? That's pretty good.
Nailed it.
The Spider Queen and the Balrog. Picture that in your minds. Here we go. So next up we have got Andreas the Norwegian Viking. We like him, don't we?
Yes,
we like you, Andreas. You're
cool guy.
Dude. Cool dude. Brings it up to 6 hosts, Harry. What? Don't forget Bilbo. Hashtag GBHL Harry. Hashtag GBHL Steve. Hashtag GBHL Bilbo. Maybe, we shall see. Stringing you all along at the moment.
Yeah.
Come make content with us and we might make you a GBHL host.
You'd have a queue at the door, I think.
I'll do the next one as well. We've got Wasadi, but thanks for the Isengard Gundabad advice. It's a pleasure. I was happy to do that. Really love the look of both, so could well be a toss of the coin. My question this week is, do you guys have any recommendations for SBG audio podcasts? I already listened to the Green Dragon podcast, but wonder if you guys have any favourites. Something to listen to while I'm sat at my desk at work. Cheers for the awesome content, guys. Wes. Thanks very much for your question. SBG podcasts?
The Green Dragon's the only one I listen to, podcast-wise. Don't listen to any others. I wasn't aware there was any for SBG.
Again, I know that Jamie looked into making some of the. I think it was one of his Patreon stretch goals. Was turning Speak for Any Question and maybe even Palantir, I think, into being MP whatever files. MP3 files, so you could listen to them. I mean, I've done it in the past when I've listened to content. Even YouTube videos. I mean, it's not really good for your streaming your data and everything. But I have literally just put the video on and put my headphones in, like if I've been driving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's something you can do. The Green Dragon podcast is.
If there is more podcasts, let us know because I'm not aware of any.
Absolutely. Next up, we've got Dr. Dan.
Dr. Dan.
Dr. Dan.
Hi guys, hope this is in time. Another Army list query. Sorry, Jamie. And an amendment to a previous list that I want your thoughts on. Warband 1, White Council. Galadriel, Lady of Light. Saruman the Wise. Arwen with an Elven Cloak. Warband 2, Imrahil, 5 Warriors of the Dead. 5 Pikemen of Dol Amroth. Warband 3, Captain of Dol Amroth. 5 Warriors of the Dead. 5 Pikemen of Dol Amroth. 800 points exactly for tournament play. Thoughts? Is it low on numbers? Thanks as always. Hashtag GBHL Bilbo. Harry, I like it.
So what are your thoughts there?
So you got White Council.
He got 3, 14. He's got 25 in 800 points. Yeah, it's a bit smaller.
Yeah, it's because of the White Council and Imrahil's massive points in.
Imrahil's massive. Okay, so if we were looking to improve that list, I would say Wise Arwen in there. You don't necessarily need her, and you'd probably maybe bring the new White Council, Saruman and Galadriel together because there's some nice synergies there in terms of protecting a force. Imrahil is massive in combat 8, but if you've not got him on his armoured horse, with a lance, you're missing a trick there.
Yeah, I'd change him for 4 longer fight in that list.
In that list, yes, you can get more. It's the same with the Captain of Dol though. You know, Captain of Dol Amroth's only fight 4. Shouldn't be. Go and check out our Kings of Men rules we'd like to see. I can see what you're doing there with your front rank being the quite high defence and with the ability to cost wound against courage. Can be pretty handy, and then supporting that with the fight for the pikemen. But really at 800 points, you know, 3 full war bands, unless you're going all kind of hero, is it? Or very elite, manoeuvrable kind of army is kind of where you want to be aiming for.
How much is Imrahil? 170.
When he's got kit and stuff, yeah. Oh no, he's 150. I think he's 165 with stuff. I think.
But you drop Arwen.
155.
Drop Arwen and Imrahil. Put Forlang in leading Warband 2. You could probably squeeze another Warband in.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's not a bad way of going really, but that's the way that I'd change it. You know, Arwen's not really doing anything in that list. If you want the magic protection at 800 points, then go for the new Galadriel and the new Saruman combined, because that works really well. And then you need to really, because your troop, I understand what you're trying to do with your troop lines, but there's not enough of them to do it really. So Imrahil in that list would have to do an awful lot. In that list, he would have to do an awful lot to carry the rest of the side, so to speak, under the protection of your heroes. But yeah, thank you very much for that. Next up, we've got Watman RP again. We've only got 2 more questions, and that's perfect because we're coming up to an hour. Boom! Nailed it. Pros. Watman RP, another question. Do you guys know the terrain tutor Mel Bose?
Yep, Bose.
I believe he's in the UK and makes beautiful scenery. It would be great to see him involved in The Hobbit. The terrain tutor, a friend of yours, isn't he?
Yeah, I speak to him now and again. I've followed him for a long time. Obviously, the stuff that I do on Top Table is very similar to the stuff that he does. We chat now and again about different things. I don't think I've ever seen him do any Hobbit scenery or even speak about SBG, as in playing the game and things like that. He plays. It's not Flames of War. What's the 28mm World War II?
Oh, bolt action.
Bolt action. He's big on bolt action at the minute.
It's the other way around, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know.
One of them. It's one of the World War II things. He's really into it at the minute. But yeah, that's his main game that he plays. I mean, we could ask. I don't think he'd be interested, if I'm honest. But yeah, his channel's awesome and he does some really cool stuff, and he's a cool guy. So yeah, we know who he is.
We certainly do. There are a few guys who are involved in terrain for this community. One of them is sat down right here. Barry's made some cool stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't do commissions and is not running a channel, but you know he has made some cool terrain. We've also got Alex Wright over in America. He does quite a bit. Who else? There's a few people doing it now, isn't there? Got any shout outs?
Lots of people are touching on it.
I think, and this isn't just sort of blowing sunshine to yourself, but I think that a lot of people have felt quite motivated to do it, you know, especially with all of your, you know, I know we joke about it, like half-done terrain pieces on the thing, but I think that's really motivated people. I think people have looked and thought, oh, do you know what, maybe I could do that, or they watched the tutorials.
Well, that's why I've done some of the tutorials and some of the series that started, which I'll continue to build with me, is because I think building terrain is something not a lot of people have the confidence to do. It's not just the confidence, having the materials to do it and the tools to do it. It's very basic stuff, but it's basic if you've got the stuff to do it.
You've got a competition on at the moment, haven't you? On Top 10 Wargaming?
On Top 10 Wargaming, yeah.
About building materials.
Yeah, that's a nice segue.
Not planned at all.
No, it wasn't planned. No, but yeah, I'm giving away
500 subscribers!
Yeah. Awesome, and it's growing every day, which is really good. And because of that, I'm giving away a sort of beginner's terrain making kit, so you're going to get materials to make things, you can get the tools that you need to start off with. So get over to Top Table Facebook group and have a look at that. But yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot more people are doing it, which is cool. Because the reason I started was because we didn't have a lot of options. We had the ruins of Asciliath, Middle Earth ruins, and then we got the Goblin Town stuff. But that was it as far as theme stuff goes. Yeah. And I wanted the stuff in the movies. I wanted your Ram and Hens. I wanted your Weather Tops. You know, I wanted all that stuff. And I think it looks cool. Because
it's a massive part of the game, and it's something that we said right from...
It's so much fun.
Oh yeah, I mean...
So much fun to do.
Well, I mean, I've never built terrain, but even just playing on a board, when you are playing and you're using your wonderful, models from Middle Earth, you paint your miniatures, you put tons of time into. You don't want to go and necessarily just play on a. I mean, you want to feel like you're immersed in Middle Earth. You want to feel like you're at those points in the books and the movies that you really are quite familiar with and you can connect with. And I know that I get so much more. I mean, I can remember first Desolation Stockport. Jamie and I did our best going around and trying to make the table, and we did pretty well with what we had in Northwest Gaming Centre. And I think that things like what you're doing and what other guys are doing and what the guys try to do is some of the display boards at Nova, not the tournament tables, but display boards at Nova with Alex, and and there's more people doing it as well. What Rick Fryer has done down with the guys at Mid Sussex Wargamers,
Dolgledore,
the Dolgledore as well. Just trying to increase that level of immersion so that people really do sort of appreciate the fact that you're in Middle Earth. Because let's face it, most people who play this game aren't just playing it because it's a good war game. We're playing it because we're fans of Middle Earth, we're fans of the lore, we're fans of the books, we're fans of the movies. The game is almost secondary. If it was a really poor game, then of course it probably wouldn't work. But it's a decent game. The models are great, and if you can immerse yourself in Middle Earth, I think then it's got a huge amount of appeal for that. So yeah, make sure that you go and check that out. And if anybody wants any commission stuff done, get involved with this guy. So finally, the final question. The final question is from King Bonsai again. I think he's put another one here.
Second question.
It's a second question.
He says, I recently played the winner of Nova's 1000 point all hero fight and nearly beat his Historicon force with a Balrog list at 600 points. Sadly, we played tournament standard, so my 3 model force could be broken, otherwise I would have won. The Balrog isn't that bad. He's great, in fact, if Erkenbrand isn't around during some.
Okay. Well, if they give us a bit more detail about that. I mean, I think the issue that people have with the Balrog is in scenario play is the movement, that it costs a huge amount of points, so you're then not able to take the troops, and a lot of these scenarios are number based, and the fact that he hasn't got any might can be a bit of a problem as well. Like he's got a bunch of will, but at some point that's going to be whittled down.
If you keep rolling 6s, you're alright, but it's when you don't roll that 6 and you're
because how many attacks?
Trapped.
3? 4?
Is it 3 or 4? I think it might be 4. I think it's 4 with Balrog.
It's 4. There are going to be times when you're not going to do that, and especially with things like piercing strike and the like, being able to get around the fact that so the models that it's high defense and you trap, double your number of dice. It's eventually it'll go down, and 400 points is a lot out of your force. But it sounds like you did well with it. So yeah, if you are going to be at Nova, I look forward to seeing you there, buddy. That's coming obviously at the start of September, lots to look forward to there. I will keep cracking on with Articon. I know there's not been many updates recently, but I have had a crazy June. If you want to know what I've been up to and what's going on in my life, then you might not be interested at all. But if you want to go check that out, I will be doing an update video over on Hot Gates Gaming very, very soon. And also making a few announcements of some of the things that you've got to look forward to going forwards on that channel and on this channel as well, because me and Stephen will be doing quite a bit together going forwards. Thank you very much.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
A pleasure. Do you want to give it a go? Do you want to give it a go?
No.
Come on. Come on.
What is it?
It's an audition.
I can't remember.
Don't forget to
comment, like, share, subscribe.
Support your Hobbit hosts by checking the links in the video description below.
Follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.
Support your Hobbit hobby.
And happy strategy battle game.
Give that guy a job! Woo!